Hello everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations. Welcome to my living room and to our next tutorial for Country Craft Creations. I'm using the beautiful collection Birthday and it is gorgeous. As soon as I saw it, of course you see the cake, and I decided I was going to make a cake. So this is a beautiful project that can not only be a gift box but also a decor piece. And I added the tea lights, for candles. And obviously you would never use real candles on this. It's just battery operated. But this is a super cute project. And I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. I have a little part of the video where I'm going to show you how I made the flowers using dies I bought from Country Craft Creations. And I'll show you how to put together all the boxes, and it's just gorgeous. So I really, really hope you like it. So then when you're done with your birthday celebration, then what you can do is this all nestles inside of each other and it closes up for storage, and you can use it next year. So again, this is a great gift box project, but it's also a great decor piece. So I hope you like it. Let's get into the tutorial. Okay, we're going to get started with the project, and we'll start with a small box, and we'll work our way to the bigger box. As we go, we'll do the box, and then we'll do the pattern paper, and then just get it done, and then make the next piece. Altogether, I used 11 sheets of cardstock and 12 sheets of pattern paper. All right, so we're going to get started with the small box. The small box, you will need a piece of cardstock, and again, artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creation, the 87 pound. If you have 100 pound, that would work as well. You need one piece that's 9 by 9, and then for the lid, you need a piece that is 7 5/8 by 7 5/8. Okay, so we're going to start with the box, and we're going to put the 9 by 9 in here, and we're going to score at 3 and at 6, and then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score at 3 and at 6. And I apologize, I know my arms are scratched up. Yesterday we spent time taking down a fence, and I got a couple little war wounds there, so sorry about that. All right, so there's the box, and then the lid, we'll go ahead and score that while we're at it. So 7 5/8 by 7 5/8, and you're going to score at 1 1/8, 2 1/4, and you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so turn it 1 1/8, 2 1/4, turn it 1 1/8, 2 1/4, turn it 1 1/8, and 2 1/4. Okay, so we'll put this out of the way for just a second. We'll start with our box. Now we're going to just make kind of a standard box with this, and because it's going to be a perfect square box, the other ones are not. We're going to do this one a little bit different than we're going to do the other ones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the score line, and I'm going to do what I like to call a pinwheel cut. So I'm going to cut straight up the score line to start, and then I'm going to tab the outside box here, or the outside square, okay, because we have basically created 9 squares with our scores. And then what I'm going to do, what I mean by pinwheeling, is once I get that cut, then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same thing to the same corner. So I'm just going to cut up the score line, okay, and then I'm going to cut and tab that outside square. All right, then pinwheel, do it again. I'm trying to see the score lines. The shadows are not cooperating. All right, do this. And do that. One more time. okay, like so. And then we will go ahead, let's fold and burnish. And then we'll work on our lid piece, and then we'll work on the pattern papers all at the same time so we can talk about that at the same time, okay? So I'm just going to fold and burnish. And then this will be our box, and it will be ready in just a second. We are going to put on as much pattern paper as we can before we actually make the box shape. All right, so then we're going to grab our lid, and I'm going to grab a pencil here. So the way that we're going to do this lid, we're going to be able to cover it completely with pattern paper before we actually make it, which is really nice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut out, to start, the outer 3 squares that were created with the scoring. Okay, so all of these need to be cut out. The inner squares are going to become tabs. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. We're going to do this just a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to cut, if I can find that darn shadow so I can see the scores. We're going to cut straight up through both of those scores. So the 1 1/8 inch here and the up to the 2 1/4. I'm going to cut straight up, and then we'll go ahead and cut straight up again on that outer score. Okay. Then we're going to turn it. I'm going to do this the full meal deal version first, and then I'll show you kind of a shortcut version. Okay. We'll cut that out, and then we'll cut this outer score out, or outer square, I should say. So now you should have those 3 corners cut, and then you have this piece. And then what you need to do is go back in and tab that, okay? Like so, okay? And just pop those out. So then you have that. We're going to do that to all 4 of the corners. So I'm just going to, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide on over here. This one I'm not going to pinwheel. I'm just going to go straight across. And I'm going to cut straight up. Okay, cut straight up. And then we'll turn, we'll cut those out. And if it helps to put the X's on your paper before you do this, just so you make sure that you cut out the right squares, by all means do that, okay? So then you're going to go back and you're going to tab that, do those angle cuts, and tab that, okay? So then you have that cut out. Now, that's kind of the full meal deal version on how to do it. A lot of times, once you get the hang of doing this, if you haven't done it before, what I will do is cut straight up. And then I'll go ahead and angle all the way down here, because then it's just one cut to angle the piece that we're keeping, okay? So like that. And then I'll do it again. So whatever is less confusing for you. Okay, so you can see I've already tabbed it, and then I just turn it, and then that's when I cut the sides off, okay? Like that, and then like that, okay? So that's kind of a condensed version rather than the full meal deal. It's the diet version, not the full menu. Okay, so I cut that out, tabbed it up. I'm going to angle that one all the way to that score line. Then I'm going to cut those off. It saves a couple little steps, but whatever works for you and whatever's easier. But then you should add or have a piece that looks like that, okay? So that is the lid. So we're going to get rid of that. Fold and burnish all of our pieces, okay? Make sure you get all the pieces folded. I love this way of making box lids because you can put pattern paper on all of the sides everywhere and then glue it together, and then you're done, and you don't have to go back into the lid or back into the box of the lid, you know, to put pattern paper on, and everything gets covered up and the tabs get covered up, and it just works out perfectly, okay? So you have your lid. All right, so now let's talk pattern paper. Let's start with the box. We'll go back to the box. Now for the box, and because I was starting to get a little nervous about pattern paper, I'm not going to cover the actual bottom outsides of the box. I'm only going to cover like the insides and then like all the lid and the outsides of the box, of course. But I'm not going to cover the bottom outside because I was scared I didn't have enough paper, and I ended up indeed not having enough paper. So if you do have enough paper, by all means do that. But we're going to cover up the insides because that's more likely going to be what's seen, and it will also cover up tabs, which will make more sense with the other boxes. But anyways, let's get back to the small box. So you will need 9 pieces of paper altogether that are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. So, and then for the lid, for the pattern paper, we will need 8 pieces that are 1 by 3, and those will cover the sides of the lid. And then you'll need 2 pieces that are 3 by 3, which will cover the lid top and underneath. So this will all make sense in just a second. So I'm going to put this right here, and then we're going to look at our papers here. So I picked 4 pieces for the outside of our box, and these are again 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. All of these are. And then I picked 4 pieces for the inside, and then a piece for the bottom of the box. Okay, so let's go ahead. We can't really do anything on the inside except for the bottom at this point, because this box, we definitely will have to put it together to do this. So I'm going to grab my art glitter glue here, and I did just check it, and there we go. Okay, now it's coming out. So I'm going to put my art glitter glue on here and put that down on the inside. You should have, you know, a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay. All right. And that's on the inside of the box. Okay. Then we're going to turn this over. We're going to do the outside of the box. Now, remember, when we fold up our box, when you put your pattern papers on, you need to make sure that the directions are correct, because when you fold this box, you want the direction of your paper to be where it needs to be. Okay. So, just make sure you do that. If you're using non-directional pattern, then you can go ahead and, you know, doesn't really matter, okay? We're just going to cover the outside squares here, okay? So I will do that, and then I'll come back, and we'll go to the next step. So the outside's covered. I'm not going to cover the bottom of the box. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over. When we fold this up, you can see that all my little presents are going in the proper direction, okay? So you're just basically going to glue these down. And I'm going to put glue on that big tab, and that will help reinforce this box. If you want, you totally could cut these tabs off at 1/2 inch if you wanted to do that, but I just didn't think it was necessary. I'm just going to go ahead and use the whole thing, okay? And then we'll just keep going around and around, okay? So I'm just putting glue on those tabs, okay? And then glue on my table, and then where's my other little spreader thing? I'm going to get my little spreader thing, and I'm just going to use that because it's a little easier to use on, you know, wider surfaces. Just making sure that my corners are nice and glued down, everything is burnished down, okay? And for this project, honestly, if you did not even want to cover the insides of the box, because it's not technically a gift box, however, if you wanted to use it as a gift box, that's why I wanted to, you know, kind of cover it. So, you know, it's up to you. So when I, you know, thought of this project, again, I think I talked about this already, but I was thinking about having this as a centerpiece. But if you wanted to make this and use it as a gift box, you totally could. And that would be a really fun thing, because then not only would it be a gift box, but then the recipient could go ahead and get that, you know, decor piece as well to use for future, you know, parties and stuff. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. And this could be made in any kind of, you know, cakes can be made in any form for any holiday. So if you wanted to make this in other papers and use it for other holidays, you totally could. You could do 2 layers instead of 3. I mean, the options are endless, really, with this idea. So I thought it was a cool idea, and I've been thinking about it for a long time. And as soon as I saw, you know, this paper, I was like, this is what you need to do. Okay. box is covered. Now we just need to put our pattern papers in. Now this blue paper that I chose has a very light wording on it. It says happy, happy, happy all over it. And so I wanted to make sure that that was all in the correct orientation when we put it inside the box. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this down and just gently, art glitter glue will let you kind of slide it with your fingers a little bit. And I'm just going to put it in there, and then I'm going to use my little spreader, kind of make sure it gets glued down. Okay, and I'm just going to keep going around and doing that. Okay, so just put glue on your pattern paper and then pop it in that box and then press it down. Okay, so I'll finish all 4 of these sides. And then I'll come back. All right, so my box is papered on the outside and then the inside. And then remember, because I was worried about pattern paper, which turned out to be true, I didn't quite have enough to cover the bottoms, but that's okay because they're going to be sitting on their bottoms anyway, so nobody's going to be looking. All right, so now we have the lid, and we're going to be able to cover this lid totally without you know, making it, and then we can make it and it'll be done. Okay, so I cut my pattern papers, and again, for the lid, because this is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8 to cover a 3 by 3 box, our pattern papers are going to be 3 by 3. Okay, this one's going to go on the inside because I actually want my cakes on the outside, on the top. Okay, so these are 3 by 3, so we'll just put those down. This is the outside. And then what I should actually show you real quick, on the inside of this lid, the only thing we're going to put on is the pattern paper on the inside lid. Okay, so when you lift that lid, so we're going to just put that on there real quick and then turn it back over to the outside. Okay, so all of these pieces that are 1 by 3 need to be put on those rectangular pieces there. Okay, so basically you're just going to glue those on. I'll go ahead and get started. You can use, you know, different, of course, papers if you want, different colors, different patterns, whatever. I decided that I wanted all of the lid sides to be the same. So they're all going to be done in this pink paper. And I think that's going to make the cake cohesive. You know, it'll kind of look like the icing, I guess. So you're just going to just put those on all 4 sides, just like that. Okay. And then when we come back, I'll finish it. And when we come back, we're going to put the lid together. Lid's papered on the outside. There's the inside. So now we just have to put it together. So the first thing you're going to do is just put glue on these tabs, and we're just going to glue that to the inside of the box. Okay. So we're just going to take that glue and we're going to fold that up. We're just going to line that up. Okay. And glue that little tab down. And I'm just going to go ahead and burnish that down. And then we'll just continue around doing that. So we'll put glue on this tab. Okay. So matching up those corners, and then I'm just going to hold that down and burnish that down. All right. We've got our 2 little tabbies here. We could probably do 2 at a time here. So let's just do that. Okay. Got glue there. Glue there. Line those up. Okay. Okay, So we have all of those done, and then all we need to do is put glue on here and then fold those over. They will decorate the inside of the lid and cover all of those tabs. So that will reinforce the tabs and also decorate the box. So you just have to fold those in, okay? And grab your bone folder and just go in there and burnish that down. And there you go, okay? It's really a cool way to make your lids, and then it also makes the lids, you know, sturdier because you basically have the 2 layers of cardstock on each side. So that works out really well. And I like the fact that, you know, it's something that I can like cover everything before, you know, I make the box, because I mean, even though it's, you know, easy to do and I did it pretty fast, you know, it is kind of a pain. And this makes life, I think, a little bit easier for a lot of folks and for myself as well. But doesn't that look pretty? Looks super pretty. All right. Okay, just popping that in. Use my bone folder. All right. Pop that down. Make sure all the corners are nice and flat. Okay, and there you have it. So your lid is complete. Isn't that pretty? The inside of the lid, the outside of the lid. Here's our box, and then our lid should fit just perfectly right there, okay? So that's how the first box will look. This is the small box. Let's go ahead and start working on the medium-sized box. All right. So for the medium-sized box, we're going to work on the box first. You're going to need a piece that's 6 by 6, and then you will need 4 pieces that are 6.5 by 5, okay? The 6 by 6 does not get scored. Because this is going to start getting big, 12 by 12 papers aren't going to be big enough to make this. So we're going to have to piece these boxes together. So you have one piece of 6 by 6, put that off to the side, and then for all of the 6.5 by 5 inch pieces, what you're going to do is you're going to put them in your scoreboard, and here's how I did it. With the 5 at the top, score at half, and then turn to the right, so clockwise, and score at half. And do all of these the same way. You need the tabs all in the same direction. If you do it where like this 1/2 inch is over here, it's going to mess up your box. So really do all 4 pieces exactly the same. Put the 5 at the top, score at half, turn it clockwise, score at half, okay? Do that to all 4 pieces. Then what you're going to do is take all 4 pieces, and we're going to do some mitering. So we're going to miter the corners sharply, but we'll just kind of slightly miter these. I mean, we're going to cover it with pattern paper, so it's going to be okay. And then what you'll do is then fold and burnish, okay? Like so, okay? So you'll have a piece like that. So we're going to do that to all 4 pieces. So again, we'll just go through it one more time, and then I'll do the rest off camera. Miter the corners sharply so that we don't have, you know, a whole lot of bulk and stuff like that. It makes pattern papers a lot easier. And then we're going to fold, burnish, fold, burnish, and you're done. Okay, so miter, miter, corner. All right, I will finish these, and then I'll be back. All of my sides are done. Here is my bottom piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these pieces. This end will fit right here. So I'm actually going to turn it over on the right side. Let's turn it over on the right side. So we have our fold going this way. We're going to take our 6-inch bottom piece and we're going to glue it right there. Okay. So we're just going to take glue and we're going to put glue on that 1/2 inch piece. And this is how we're going to construct our box, okay? So like I said, 12 by 12 paper is just not going to be big enough to actually do this part. So what I'm going to do, so I put it right to the score so that when we fold this up, you know, that should be flush with the edge, okay? Like so. Okay, that's going to be one side of the box. We're going to turn it right side, okay? So we just glued it this way. Let me confuse you a little bit more. Okay, so we just glued that on there like that. We're going to turn it and we're going to glue this one here. Now you can see, here's where I was talking about the tabs, because if you look at this, these are the sides of the box, and these side tabs are what's going to be adhering to create the sides of the box. So that's why you need those tabs all going in the same direction on the same side. So it's very important with your scoring. That's why you need to do that. All right, so I'm going to put glue again on that. Put that right to the edge of that score. Make sure everything's nice and straight. Okay. Turn it over. Okay. All right, second side. So let's just continue on. And I'll put the other two on, and then we'll go to the next step. So now that we have our box completely put together, okay, this box will be 6 inches by 5 inches tall. We are going to need some pattern papers for this. So for the medium box, we are going to need one piece that's 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, and that piece is going to go on the inside bottom of the box, okay? And then you will need 8 pieces that are 5 7/8 by 4 3/8, okay? So 4 for the outside, 4 for the inside. We'll talk about the lid in just a second when we get to the lid. All right, so I've chosen my papers, and again, these are 5 7/8 wide by 4 3/8 tall, and I chose the papers with the balloons on them. I thought that would look absolutely adorable going around the box like that, okay? So again, just like the bottom, or the small box, excuse me, we are just going to glue these to the outside, okay? And make sure that you watch your direction, okay? So when we fold our sides of the project up, everything will be in the correct orientation. Now again, if you don't use an orientation, then you don't have to worry about it. But with this paper and this balloon, I could not resist doing that, all right? So just add those to the outside, all right? So I'll do that. And then I'll be right back and we'll do the inside and put this together. Outside's papered. We're not doing the bottom of the box. We're going to turn it over to the inside of the box. You see all these tabs. That's where this is going to come in handy and make that look all nice and pretty in case you actually want to use this as a 3, tiered, gift box ensemble. Okay. So again, this piece here is 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So I'm just going to put glue on that and lay that down in the bottom. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to make the box. Okay, so this is where our little 1/2 inch tabs come into play. So I'm going to go just re-burnish that real quick. Let's just do that to all of them. Okay, and we're just going to put this together. Okay, the only difference with this one is that you have a 1/2 inch to put it together with instead of like the whole side. Okay, I just wanted to try and conserve a little paper too, and it's not super necessary that you have a big piece, but it was just kind of easier with the construction of the smaller box to do it that way. Okay, so I'm just going to line that up and pop that down. Okay, all right, so I hope you can see that. Probably can't because it's probably in the way, but kind of that's the nature of the boxes, right? So you're just going to glue that 1/2 inch tab. All right, we're going to put that, line up those corners really nice, make sure everything's aligned, glue that down. Okay, and then just repeat. All right, super easy peasy. And like I said before, by all means, if you wanted to use 100-pound cardstock, you totally could. And but this cardstock here with the pattern papers that we put on it, becomes quite sturdy. Now this is the one that's going to be a little bit more fun to put together just because you have to kind of reach in there with your glue bottle, but it works out just fine. Okay, put my glue there, and then I'm just going to do the same thing. All right, and that is that. Okay, the large box will be different sizes, obviously, but it will be constructed like the same way. So we'll go through that. But that's how we're going to do this box. And then it's just a matter of putting your pattern paper on the inside. So again, these are 5 7/8 by 4 3/8, and you just need 4 of those. And let's see here. We could put the kids in there. That would be kind of fun. I think I'll do that. I'll put the kids on opposite sides, and then I'll put the other paper on the insides. That'll be kind of fun. And we don't waste our little kids, right? All right. So if we do that, that'll work out perfect. Okay, so I'm just gonna put my kids in there and make sure that's lined up. Grab my little spreader. All right, and then go around. All right, then I'll have a pretty inside box, cover up those tabs. Okay, so I'm gonna finish that and then I'll come back, we'll do the lid. All right, my box is done, so you can see that it's covered inside and outside except for the bottom. Okay, put that off to the side. Actually, let's put it over here, and then let's grab our lid piece for this. So again, the lid piece here is this one is going to be in one piece, or done in one piece, but it's going to be made exactly the same as we did the small lid. So we have the one piece of paper that is 10 5/8 by 10 5/8, and what we're going to do is we're going to score on all 4 sides again at 1 1/8 and 2 1/4. Turn 1 1/8, 2 1/4, and so on. 1 1/8, 2 1/4, and then turn it again 1 1/8 and 2 1/4. That is exactly the same method that we used for the small box. And then we're going to cut those corners out exactly like we did for that small box. Okay, so again, I'm going to cut straight up, and then I'm going to do the diet method here instead of the full meal deal, and we're going to angle that all at the same time, and then we're going to turn it. We're going to cut straight up, cut that out, and then cut this piece off. Okay, just like that. All right, so I'm going to finish that up, and then we'll be back and we'll put on pattern paper. All right, the medium box lid is done, and what we're going to do is grab our pattern paper, and I'm trying to, yeah, that's going to be on the top. This is going to be on the inside. So we're going to turn this over to the inside. We're going to have our party paper on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on that. It's the only piece on the inside that you need to cover. This is again the lid, and this piece, the pattern paper, measures 6 by 6. So the inside of the lid and the outside of the lid are 6 by 6. You need 2 of those, and then you need 8 pieces that are 1 by 6. Okay, so those are the things. So 6 by 6 here, because again the lid is 6 1/8 by 6 1/8. So I'm going down 1/8 of an inch on all of my pattern paper measurements from the size of the piece it's covering. Okay, the lid is 6 1/8 by 6 1/8, so that the paper is 6 by 6. Okay, flip this over. All right, so our other 6 by 6 pattern paper will go right here. Okay, all right, and then we'll just take our 1 by 6 pieces, and we're going to put those around on all of those side pieces. Okay, so I'll do that, and I'll come back and we'll put this lid together. Lid's covered with the 6 by 6 paper on the outside and the inside, and then we have our 1 by 6 strips on the sides. Okay, so again, we're going to do just like we did with the other box. Just fold these up And you can do them one at a time or two at a time if you want, but I'll just do it one at a time. As it gets bigger, it gets a little more tricky to work with. This project does get kind of big, okay? It really does, but it's going to be so cute. I cannot wait. I did a prototype that you guys are not going to believe. I'll put some pictures at the end just to show you my prototype. I did change the sizes a little bit. Okay. All right. So you're just going to keep going around and putting those corners on just like we did with the other box, okay? Or the other lid, I should say. Gosh, I get myself tongue-tied, okay? So glue on here, and for some reason my glue bottle's being anemic today. All right. Make sure those are glued down. Burnish that down really well, okay? Last one. Glue here. All right, and then again, you're just going to go around and glue those edges down. Cover up your tabs and complete your lid. That is what we're going to do. All right, just go in there. Make sure that's all glued down nice, burnished down. Try not to squish my box while I'm at it. Or my lid, I should say. Good gravy. But that being said, these would make great like skinny boxes too, you know, like if you needed some organizing boxes, or, you know, just wanted a little something to put something in. Making like a lid like this is a great way to use it, because you could also just put it as a box. So that is another thing that you can do with these. Super fun. It would be a cute little present too, is make one of these like this in the birthday paper. If you had scraps, you could put your present in here and then wrap it in cellophane. That would be cute. I'm just coming up with all these ideas for you, aren't I? I'm full of ideas. And not enough time to do them all. That's part of the problem. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so that's how you make the lids. So, the last lid, since we've already done two of these, I'm going to show you how to construct it, because it is constructed a little bit different, but I will paper it exactly the same and finish it exactly the same. So I won't show you all of this business the third time, okay? Because it'll be the same. All right. Okay. Got our lid nice and burnished. Everything's good. All right, so there it is. So then we have our box, and now we have our lid. All right, so second layer is done. Let's look at the third. All right, for the large box, again, we're going to have to piece this thing together. We're going to do it exactly the same as we did with the medium-sized box. So you will need one piece that is 9 by 9, no scoring. And then you will need 4 pieces that are 9.5 by 6.5, okay? So when you get your 9.5 by 6.5, we're going to do it exactly the same way. So you're going to have 4 pieces, put the 6.5 at the top, okay? Score, turn to the right, so clockwise, and score, okay? And do that the same direction for all of your pieces, all 4 pieces. And again, whoops, we're going to, and I'm going to abbreviate this because it's exactly the same. It's just a bigger size. You're going to miter, cut across those corners, okay? Then we're going to fold and burnish. Like so. Okay, so we have our pieces. This is the outside, okay? We're going to take our piece and we're going to just glue that to the edge, just like we did before. We're going to do it on all 4 sides, just like we did with the previous box, okay? So I'm going to do that off camera, okay? And then I'll come back. Actually, here's what we're going to do to save a little bit of time here. And because you've seen it before, because it's the same process, okay? You're going to get all 4 sides around your box, right? And then we're going to get our pattern papers. Now our pattern papers, where is my little list here? For the box on the outside and on the inside for the sides, you will need pieces that are 8 7/8 by 5 7/8. So you need 4 for the outside, 4 for the inside, and then you need 1 big piece that's 8 7/8 by 8 7/8, okay? And I've chosen that, and that's going to go on the inside of the box. So what I'm going to do is I am going to finish putting my sides on. I'm going to put the pattern paper on the outside, and then I'm going to put the pattern paper on the inside bottom, and then we'll put the box together, okay? And then we'll come back and do the lid. All right, so I have put the pattern paper on the outside of this box, and a little hint and tip, because this does get pretty big, either you can put the pattern paper on the sides before you attach it to the bottom, or as you go, you can fold the piece in itself and be able to work with it more easily on your desk. So that's like a little hint and tip, okay? So the outsides are on, the inside is on, and now we just need to create our actual box shape. So again, we're gonna do it exactly as we done it before with the other box, the medium-sized box. We're just going to put our glue on our tab, and I can get my fingers to work, match that up. Okay, glue that down. Okay, and I know you can't see it, there it is. So I glued it down on that side. So now I'm gonna fold this up and glue it down on this side. Okay, so on and so forth. We're going to do it just exactly the same way, okay? So I'm just matching my corners here. And then I'm going to lay it down, making sure everything's lined up. Burnish that down. Okay. And we'll just keep going around. So yeah, this box is huge, but this is going to be a cake, and cakes are tiered, so it works out really great. And remember that the other thing is that everything will nestle in here when you're done. So this is a decor piece. It is pretty tall. It's 6 inches tall by 9 inches wide, but everything will fit inside, and you'll be able to store it for future use or make like super awesome presentation for a gift, okay? So again, for the pattern paper for the box, you need 1 piece for the bottom that's 8 7/8 by 8 7/8, and then you'll need 8 pieces that are 8 7/8 by 5 7/8, okay? So I still need to cover the inside of this, and I do have my pattern papers. Now I was running a little bit low, so I ended up, I'm going to alternate the sides of my box with these. So again, these are 8 7/8 by 5 7/8, and I'm just going to put my glue on and cover the insides. I'm just going to alternate them because I was running out of paper. I did not have 2 of the same when I got to this point to do this. So I'm just going to put that down. Try and make sure it's straight. And grab my scraper and do that, okay? So I'm gonna finish that part up, and then we'll make the lid, and then we'll get on to decorating our cake. My box is covered inside and outside, and now we're going to work on the lid. So for the large box lid, we're going to do it a little bit differently because a 12 by 12 paper isn't going to be big enough. So we're going to basically piece it together kind of like what we did with the boxes, okay? And just create another lid shape exactly like the other ones. We'll just have to piece it together. It's going to make sense in a second. You will need one piece of cardstock that's 9 1/8 by 9 1/8, and then you will need 4 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 9 5/8, okay? So you'll need 4 of those. So the 9 1/8 by 9 1/8 will not be scored, but the other ones will. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in our scoreboard, and you're going to score them all exactly the same. 4 of these, put it with the 2 3/4 at the top. I want you to score it at 1 1/8, at 2 1/4, and then you're going to turn it clockwise, okay? 9 5/8 at the top, and you're going to score at half, okay? And that's all you're going to do with those. So all 4 of those the same, okay? So 2 3/4 score at 1 1/8, 2 1/4, turn it clockwise, score at a half, okay? That should give you 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch on the bottom, and then 2 1 1/8 inch pieces, okay? Then we'll get rid of our scoreboard. Put this off to the side for just a second. And then what you're going to do with all 4 of these pieces is we're going to miter that bottom 1/2 inch. And then what you're going to do, we need that tab. So we're going to tab that one out like so, because we need this tab here. And then we're going to cut this rectangle completely out. Cut straight up and then tab that side tab. Okay, just like that. So you're going to do that to all 4 pieces. Then we're going to fold and burnish all of those. Okay, and this is basically going to create the sides of the lid that we need. Okay, and basically extend the paper out a little bit. Okay, so you'll have a piece that will attach here. You can see where I'm going with this, and then you have your 2 rectangle pieces that'll be on each side, and then you'll have your tab that will attach. The only difference is this tab is only 1/2 inch instead of a square, okay? So let me cut the rest of these, and then we'll add those to the box. I got all my pieces cut, and one of them I went a little crazy on, and I cut a really sharp angle on here. It's probably not going to be an issue, but you don't want to do that. What you want to do is have a nice angle on that one tab, okay? So basically, we're going to do the same thing like we did with creating our boxes. We're just going to put glue on the long 1/2 inch side. Okay. And then we're going to take the lid, and we're going to pop that right there. Okay, and glue that on. And then we're going to turn it and repeat. Okay, so I'll do that. Just on all 4 sides. So basically what we're doing is we're just, you know, just like the boxes that we just made where we had to add the sides. Okay, that's basically all we're doing, except we're just having shorter sides because we're going to make a lid out of this. And I really wanted the double lid. Okay. And if my glue tip will last me for the rest of this tutorial, I promise I'll clean it out. So please, glue tip gods, help me. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm just adding that right to that box. Okay. Or right to the box. Why do I keep saying it because it's a box, right? It's going to be a box. I do that a lot. This is a lid. All right. All right, so I'm just putting that to that score on that 1/2 inch side. Tabs will be on the inside. is that line? Okay, there it is. All right. I am getting glue all over the place because it's all over my fingers. And it's making a mess. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we got that. All right. Glue. All right. Outside paper. And we've got all of our strips that we had before. So same thing all the way around. Okay. And then we have our inside piece. So again, the pattern paper for the large lid, you need 2 pieces that are 9 by 9, one for outside, one for inside, and then you need 8 pieces, 8 strips that are 1 by 9. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead, put those on. We'll be back in just a minute. The large box lid is done, and I've got the pattern papers all on the outside there, and then I've got the pattern papers on the inside. So again, what we're going to do is we're just going to create our boxes, okay, or create our lid. Good gravy, Michelle. All right, so I'm just going to create my lid shape here and do the same process as we did before, okay? So I'm going to just put glue on these 4 little 1/2-inch tabs, and then I'm going to glue those parts down on the other side, you know, to cover those tabs, okay? So I'm just going to go around and do the same thing, all right? So I'll be back when that's done. All right, you guys, I'm back. I have finished putting the lid together for the large box, and this is what we have. So I know you're seeing it from the top down, but here is my vision, okay? So this is a really cool, like, birthday cake kind of shape, and I'm going to try and keep it all together and tip it over so you can see what I'm talking about here. So I want to kind of layer them at a different angle, okay? So you guys obviously have seen pictures of this, but now what we're going to do is actually put some decorations on, okay? This is the fun part, okay? So let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. There, now you can see my messy desk. All right, so we're gonna have to decide, you know, the front and the back of the album. So double check your papers on the insides and make sure, front and back of the album, front and back of your boxes. So make sure that you have your pattern. If you're using pattern papers with direction, make sure they're in the right direction, okay? And your lid's on properly, okay? And then I'm going to turn this over on its side, and then we can decorate this. So we're going to make some flowers. I'm not going to make all of them on camera with you, but I'm going to show you some examples of what I've made, and then I'll show you how I put them together, really super simple. And then we'll be able to use those on the rest of the project. So I wanted to share with you that I'm using Paper Roses Studio dies that I did get from Country Craft Creations, and I will have links down below so you can go and pick some up. They're great dies. I love them. I've been using them a lot lately, and they're really great. So there's 3 different ones that I picked: Bloom number 1, number 2, and number 3, and they're really cute. So I just went to town just die cutting a whole bunch of pieces. So I just took all the scraps that I had left over from my first project, and I ran them all through my machine and made all kinds of different things. So I did all the different flowers, I did all the sizes, I did all the little leaves. I tried to use a lot of the green to make the leaves. Made the little centers, and I even made all the little dots and stuff. So what I was going to show you is how I'm going to, or how to put them together really super simply. I made a couple examples. This one is only using 2 of the larger flowers. I'm hoping you can see that. I'm trying to get in camera here. And then all I did was use a button for the center, and I used some of this string. You see this kind of wiggly string? So this came from the button package that I shared during my last tutorial for the Doodlebug boutique buttons. All of the buttons that came on this card were sewed on, and I used that string to tie through a button during my first tutorial. Well, then I got to looking at it, and this is a 3-ply string. So I decided to see what would happen, and I undid it like an embroidery floss, and I ended up with that really cool wiggly, you know, piece of string that I could use. So now, and I have 2 more left to go. So I ended up threading that through the button. Again, I'm going to try and make sure that you're in, or you can see it. I thread it through the button, tied a knot, and then that became the center of my flower. Okay. And that was just 2 flowers glued together. This one here, I used 3 different ones, or excuse me, 4 different ones. And then I used just a pearl. And this is one of those fashion oysters from Spellbinders that I got in my design team package. So that's the center of that. Here, and you can see this one is still drying, if I can pick it up. 3 petals, and then on the inside I use 3 of the little fashion oysters and just use that as the center. And I'm using art glitter glue for them, so it's still drying, but that's what I did there. This one here was another set of petals, just 2 with the button, and I just tied through it. Here's one with just 1 pearl, and I used one of the little circle die cut pieces. Let me see if I can find another one here. So this came out of the die cut as well. So I used that in the center of it underneath the flat back pearl. Here we have 2 petals, and then we have one of these pieces here underneath the pearl. Okay. Let's see, where am I? Oh, I made 2 so far, teeny tiny little ones, and these are from the smallest flower dies of these sets, and I just layered several of them together and then just put one of the smaller little pearls in there. And then I got an idea about, you know, using button centers and then taking some of the flat back pearls, and on this button that had more of a flat surface, I just put 5 of the pearls in there and that's going to be a center of a flower. Okay. So anyway, all I'm going to do is make as many flowers as I possibly can, and we're going to use them on the project. So I'm going to show you how I'm putting them together. You're basically going to need scraps and your dies. You can use any die you want. You can use any punch you want. Just punch out a bunch of flower shapes in different sizes, different shapes, and get some leaves. So when we put it on the project, we can tuck leaves in behind, and then we'll have that. So I got a whole bunch of leaves going on over here, and then all my flower pieces. So I'm using the oysters that were left over, these little flat back pearls here. And then I'm also going to be using some more of the buttons for this. So I have them kind of laid out. All I'm going to do is pick a couple, and sometimes what I do is I just kind of lay out the bigger ones. Okay, so I'm using, you can mix and match too. You can do, you know, I mean, this is totally up to you what you want to do. And then I'm trying to get like maybe some colors that contrast, you know, so you can see, you know, different things. So maybe I'll put this one more here and that one here, and then grab some of the smaller ones. So we could put a pink one there, maybe a pink one here. I've got some white here. So anyways, just, you know, play with how you want them to look. And if you have little ones left over, from stacking all of the sizes, then you can go ahead and make smaller flowers. Okay, so it's really super simple. So once I get them kind of laid out the way I want them, we'll just grab one and I'll show you. And this is how I do it for all of them. Is I have this pickup tool that I've had forever. It's called a jewel picker, and it has a little tip that's kind of rubberized and sticky. It's getting a little less sticky. I need to get a new one. This thing is 100 years old. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, and I've got the cap of it on the end, and I'm just going to put it on the right side of the flower, right in the center, and I'm going to just kind of fold that flower right over the end of that, okay, like that, okay? And that's how I'm going to shape them. That's it. Now, you can squish them with your hand. You could run them through a die cut machine, but I was just sitting here playing with it, and I was just like, yeah, let's just squish it like that, and it makes just a nice little flower. Now, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can totally leave these flat if you want. I'm just going to do that to all the pieces, and I'm just going to, like I said, form it just right around the end cap there, and then just squish that up, and then that'll kind of give us a little bit of dimension, okay? And then I'll do the third one that I'm going to use. All right, just wrap that around, okay? And then there we go. And then what I'm going to do is grab my glue. I'm going to put some glue in the center of that bigger one and the center of the medium one. And then I can just take my jewel picker, and if it works, which it's not going to work now that I'm on camera, which is, it figures, right? And I'm going to just go ahead and put that in there, right in the center. And it worked off camera like perfectly. Doesn't that figure? Doesn't that figure? It always does that. But you can pick them up with your hands. No big deal, right? And then I'm just going to push that down. And then that's going to be the base of my flower. All right. My art glitter glue is going to catch it, and it's going to dry fairly quickly. So then you can take the end and you can, you know, just press that down. Okay, and then we just need to add a center, so we can do whatever we want. I think this particular button piece is going to be a little bit too big because I added that smaller flower in there. This would be better if I just did it like in a bigger piece. So I'll show you that in a sec. What can we do? I know what we can do. Let me show you how to use these guys. All I did with these was I just kind of folded those little frills up. Okay. Like that, and then those can glue in here, so that'll give another little piece of dimension. Let's see if it works this time. Yeah, it did, kind of. There you go. So you can put that in there. That gives it another little bit of dimension, okay? And then we can grab a pearl, and if you want to do like 3 of them, we can do that. I'll show you how to do that. I just put a little bit of glue in there, and then I'm going to grab these and my pickups here, and I think I'm going to go for the more medium-sized ones, and I'm just going to pop 3 of those in there on the glue, and that'll be the center of my flower. And then like I said, I'm just going to make as many as I possibly can to use on the project. And I just took all the scrap pieces that I had from my previous project, and that's where I got all these flowers, okay? You see that? Isn't that pretty? Little bit of dimension, cute little flower center. Good way to use up lots of little flat back pearls if you have a bunch left over from a project. We're just going to set that off to the side. Let me show you, let's work on a bigger one. Like I said, for this one here, I'm going to want a bigger flower. So I'm going to just take like 2 of the biggest sizes here. And again, I'm just going to put that right in the middle of that flower, and I'm going to just squish it up, and that's going to help form it. You can also go back and you can squish it with your fingers if you want. Give it a little bit more, whatever works, okay? So right in the center, squish it up. And then because that button is so big, that's all I'm going to use is 2 of the bigger flowers, okay? And I think I like that more multicolored one. It had the balloon paper in this birthday paper. It's just really pretty. So I'm going to put glue in the center, and I'm going to kind of offset my petals here. Put that down in there, and then while you've got it pressed down with the end of your tool, you can always fluff it back up too. And then some glue in the center, and then you can put your button down. This is a big button, that is for sure, but it's going to work out great. So just put that in the center. I'll hold that down. And then, like I said, you can fluff it up some more while you're holding it down, and then we'll let it set and dry, and then that'll be that flower, okay? Kind of dislodge my little petals, but there you go. So that's what you can do with those. So that'll look really cute on our project, I think. Let's see what else. The teeny tiny ones, they were fun to do. So what I ended up doing with those is like take 2 little teeny tiny ones. Okay. And because they're so tiny, I use the other end of the tool. And you can use another idea for tools. You can use, you know, like a pencil, a pen, like a Bic pen with a nice little cap would work really perfect for these smaller flowers. Okay. And then we have really, let's see, where's the other ones? These are really super teeny tiny. See these little ones? They're just super teeny tiny. And I'm just going to go ahead and just pop that in my hand, your fingers, whatever works. And then you can form that, okay? And then again, just glue and glue. My little picker here, let's see, I want that. Oops. Excuse me. And then this. Okay. And they don't have to be perfect. Remember, flowers are not perfect. Then for the center of this, what I could do is I have one of those little die cuts flower centers. So we could put that in there. And see if I can get my little picker tool to work. put that down. Okay, and you can leave the flower as is, just like that. Oops. Or you can grab another flat back pearl, and I'll grab one of the teeny, teeny, tiny ones. Excuse me. We did a ton of yard work today, and my allergies kind of acting up. So when that glue dries, it's going to be totally clear, but you get the gist. Okay, so another teeny tiny little flower, and they will look just like that when they're done. Okay, so I am going to continue on finishing up my flowers and making all of these, and then I'll come back, show you what all we have, and then we're going to use them in our projects. I just wanted to kind of give you a quick and easy flower tutorial for our project. So I know you saw the video where I kind of showed you how I put together all my flowers. So I have a whole ton of really pretty flowers. They're all different papers. They all have different centers. Some have buttons. Some have pearls. They're all really cute. I've got different sizes. I even have teeny tiny little ones that are just really super simple. Okay. And so what my plan with this is, oh, and I want to show you. So in that video, I also showed you that I had taken that string that was tying the buttons onto this card, and I took the plies apart. So there was it was a 3-ply string. So I just went ahead and took those apart, and then the rest of the buttons that I hadn't used in the flowers, because some of them were fairly big, I tied some of that through there, and then it's curly because it's been wound around itself, so it's really pretty. And then some of these, like, whoops, I'm going to drop that. Some of these I double layered, so I just thread the thread through both of the buttons, and then so now it's like just double layered. Okay, it has that really pretty look. So I did that, and then I used 3 tea lights, and these are just really simple, standard battery operated only, no real candles, please. Disclaimer, no real candles. This is paper. It will go up in flames. Do not use real candles. These are battery operated. Okay, turn them on, and you've got that cute little glow there. So what I did was I just tied bows with the leftover ribbon that I had from the design team project. So I have 3 of those. So I did 2 of them so that the green was kind of around the votive candles here, the tea lights, and then one that had the blue. Okay, so I got those together, got my buttons, and then I took the last bit of lace ribbon that I had, and I just tied a simple bow and then trimmed the ends. So we're going to use that. And then I picked out a couple of pieces that I want. I'm not sure which ones or if both of them I'm going to use, but there's that. And then here are kind of my leftovers. So I have a couple cut aparts left over, a little piece of ribbon left over, some pearls, but look at all the pearls that I ended up using. So that was good. I used a lot. Okay. And then I have my bag of leaves. Okay. So here's my thought. I'm going to grab my first big box. This is going to be kind of the main part of the box. Okay. I'm going to turn it up on its side. All right, let me zoom out again. Other way, Michelle. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, and I think I want that one on the front. That's going to be kind of my main decoration. I'm going to put this guy here. Okay, so it's just right in the middle. That's where I want that. And then I'm going to start layering some flowers. So I'm not going to glue these down yet. I just want to show you, give you an idea of what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put, like, I just want to kind of, you know, like cakes, they have like nice, you know, arrangements of flowers. So I want to just kind of, you know, do something like that. I love, let's see, how am I going to do this? I'm going to do something like this, get maybe a smaller flower up here, and maybe kind of, let's see, where's some of my smaller ones, kind of go off to this side a little bit, and then just kind of wind my way up the box. So like starting from this corner and winding up this way. And then I'm going to take some of my leaves here, and you know, once I get these glued down to where I want, then I can, you know, like tuck some leaves under there, and really, you know, kind of decorate this up, okay? So that's where I'm going to start, all right? And then once I get that done, I'm going to look at my second box, okay? But the first part here is just kind of winding everything around this way. You can use a hot glue gun, probably be easier to glue the ribbon on with that. Or you can use art glitter glue if you have patience. I'm going to go ahead and rack up my hot glue gun, glue this down, and then we're going to, I'll glue this part down first, and then we'll go to the next step for decorating. Okay, so I have the front decorated. So I have kind of the spray of flowers going up, you know, kind of like that. And you can do it in any combination that you want, you know, and I still might add some more because I still have some, you know, of those flat back pearls, the little fashion oysters. I can sprinkle around and do all that kind of thing. But that's what I ended up doing with the leftover lace that I had. And I added a few little ribbons and then the flower spray that goes up there. So just be aware when you do this, make sure the lid is on your box, or make sure you really know where that lid's going to go, because you don't want to put flowers where your lid's going to pop them off. Okay, so you have to stop at a certain point. Okay, then what I'm going to do, so that's the front. And I did pop this up with some foam dots. So I did do that. Okay. So I've got my flowers, added some leaves here and here, you know, and I might go back and sprinkle some more in, but I want to kind of make sure that I don't use them all up before I'm done. And then I'm going to turn this upside down, I'm right side up, I should say. And then I'm going to grab my second box. Now my idea with my second box is to have this kind of off kilter, you know, like about half and half. Okay. Now I'm not going to glue that box down because I'm going to want to tear it apart for storage. Okay. So, but I do want to, let me double check and make sure you can kind of see. Okay. So I want to make sure that I've got like some flowers that come up in this direction over here. I'm going to, you know, put some votive candles on here and make it all pretty. So, I want a votive candle. I'm going to start with my first one, and I'm just going to set it kind of where I want it. Then what I'm going to do is grab some of my flowers here, and I want kind of some maybe bigger ones, and I'm going to just lay those down there, okay? So I hope you can see this. I know the box is in the way, but now that I kind of know where my box is, what I could do is, let me see, let me just take a ruler, kind of give me a place here, because I want to make sure I have enough, you know, where I want my box. And I don't want to go past that point. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of my flowers here, and I'm going to go around where that votive is going to be. And it's going to be kind of in the corner, so I can add some, you know, little ones behind. Whoop! And knock that over. Add some little ones behind, do that kind of thing, and add that there. Okay? So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back, and I will show you what that looks like. All right, so you guys, I'm going to tilt this so you can see it. Hopefully, you can see that. I'm trying to look in the camera. So I put the flowers where I wanted them, and I put the votive there. I did put a little flower in front of that votive candle so that, you know, it would just kind of not slide off. It has a little kind of stopper, I guess you could say. I did not glue the votive down, so only the flowers are glued down. And then you can see on the side of the box, of the medium-sized box, and then that's where I show you that it's not glued down. So then if I lift this up, you can see, you know, here's where the votive sits, okay, with that pretty little bow there. And then you just, you know, take it off when you're done and pack it away. And then on the side of this box, I added some flowers, little buttons, some leaves. I'll probably add some more, but then that'll sit right there, and then that'll give that look of the flowers kind of going up the cake. Okay, if you can see that, I think you can see that. Okay, so then the next thing is to do the top layer, and the top layer again is that little box. Let's zoom out a little bit more, and that's going to go right here, and again, it's not going to get glued down. So you'll have a votive here. My plan is to have one maybe here, and then one on top. Okay, so then you just decorate around with the rest of your flowers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do that, decorate around here, decorate the top, and then the project will be done. So I'm gonna put the flowers on there. I've got some more left. I did make quite a few, and you can make as many as you want. And like I said in the video, I just took the scraps that were left over, like the actual cut into pieces that I had left over, not 12 by 12, but the scraps from my very first project that I made with this paper, and then that's where I got all the flowers. So that's what I'm using. So I didn't even count how many, but I'll do that when I come back. Okay. I'll see you in a few. I've decorated this birthday cake and I'm super excited to share with you how it looks. So I just added a lot of the flowers. I added a lot of bling. I'm going to kind of zoom in. This is so big that I'm not able to really do it on camera. So I'm doing this by hand. So I'm hoping that I don't make you all seasick. But I just added a lot of flowers. I added a lot of bling. I used all of those fashion oysters by Spellbinders for my design team kit, so I have like nothing left over. But you can see that I used all of the flowers here, and I just kind of grouped them together. I added some leaves. I added buttons here and there. I did pop up the cake with pop dots, you know, foam dots. So I did do that. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then as you go up the cake, there's that side. I did do a little swirly with the oysters right there on the middle box. And then here is the side of the medium box. So I have the flowers kind of going up the side of the cake here. And then I'm going to turn it a little bit. Sorry, I know this is bad. And I'm doing the flowers right here. And I've got my little tea lights going. So they're just super, super cute. And then you go up, there's a leaf right there. And then on the top of the middle box, you have all those flowers there. Again, another tea light. And I'm just kind of going around. I just added the flowers. I added some little bling dots here. I've got a little leaf there with some bling. And then I've got some flowers going up the side of the smallest box, which is the top of our cake. And then I have flowers and the tea light and everything up there. And I hope you can see that. It's just, I'm going to have some really great pictures afterwards. And so, you know, you're going to be able to see this really good too. So, but yeah, that's my birthday cake. So that kind of ends the tutorial. When you are ready to pack this up and save it for another birthday, these just all stack inside of each other, and you can store this, and it's gonna, I think, be a really fun thing to put out for birthdays. So I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think. And don't forget to see Country Craft Creations at countrycraftcreations.com for all of your paper needs. This is, again, Birthday by Country Craft Creations, and I'm using the white artisan cardstock to build it. And this is my birthday cake. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Stay crafty. Bye-bye.